Hello, and welcome to the sixth and final read-along live stream broadcast. I am Andrea Flack-Wetherald, and if you are seeing this broadcast and you don't know anything about me or what this is, I've written a book called The Funny Thing About Forgiveness, What Every Leader Needs to Know About Improv, Culture, and the World's Least Favorite F Word. And for the last 6 weeks, I've been responding to questions and comments about each chapter of the book and doing a, a live broadcast onto LinkedIn and Facebook. So that's what this is. This is the sixth one. It's about chapter 6. And chapter 6 is called Bigger Than All of Us. So I have been kind of starting this tradition of starting these things with, I said tradition like this is the last one. But what I've been doing is reading an excerpt from the chapter and then responding to questions and comments. So I will keep that going and read an excerpt from chapter 6. This is my first time to meet a flat earth theorist, I said flatly. When I typed that sentence, there was no pun intended, but now that I see it, the pun is intended. Can you walk me through the basic principles? His eyes sparkled with delight. How did you get here? He asked. Did you drive here or did you fly? I flew, I answered. Perfect. And let me ask you this, he replied with growing conviction. Did you fly in a curve or did you fly in a straight line? Wow. I guess I'm not sure. Well, you looked out the windows, didn't you? Did the earth look curved to you or did it look flat? It looked flat, I said, delighted to be along for the ride. And also, it did look flat. I wasn't lying. Exactly. And let me ask you another thing. Right now, in this moment, do you feel like you're spinning? My heart fluttered. I knew we were onto something in this conversation. I wasn't sure what yet, and I knew the conversation wouldn't turn out as he hoped, but I could feel a massive revelation coming. I could feel it in my deepest soul. I do not. I definitely do not feel like I am spinning. Here's the thing, he pontificated. How can we let the government or textbooks or anyone else tell us something we can sense isn't true? I mean, I believe the earth is round because of astronauts, I said. They work for the government, was the quick reply. He then gave me one of his handouts. It included a diagram he had sketched of a flat earth. I still have it, and I've included it in the book resources at andbeyondimprov.com/book resources. I kept it because this conversation changed my life and helped me tap deeper into who I really am. This conversation completely shifted the path of my life. Can you guess why? I didn't convert to believing the earth is flat, but I had one of the most important revelations of my life on the flight home. I can't see the curvature of the earth, but I know the earth is round. A round earth makes sense to me because of my understanding of gravity. It makes sense to me because of the rhythm of the sunrise and sunset. It makes sense to me because of the moon and the tides. It makes sense to me because of things that are more complicated than what I feel like getting into with a stranger on the sidewalk, but are nevertheless factual realities. I can't feel myself spinning, but I'm thankful for that. How nauseating would that be? The truth I stumbled upon is that we cannot see, feel, or detect everything that's true in any given moment. All of that sensory input would drive us mad. But our ability to detect the whole truth and our decision of whether or not to believe in it has no bearing whatsoever on the truth's existence. Like, none at all. The earth isn't struggling to be round because a guy with several thousand YouTube followers is convinced otherwise. The tides aren't missing a shift because people doubt the gravitational pull of the moon as it orbits the earth. That's just not how truth works. It's still true whether or not you're tapped in. Sometimes our sensory input indicates something contradictory to the truth. I don't feel like I'm on a spinning rock that's hurling its orbit through outer space. I feel like I'm in a Starbucks listening to a Brené Brown TED Talk, and that's the end of my sensory input in this moment. But if the evidence we have contradicts our bigger truth, we have to hold on to our deeper understanding. And this revelation has helped me build meaningful, non-superficial relationships with people whom I had previously assigned labels: bigot, racist, self-righteous a-hole, etc. The task is not to agree. And then I go on to explain more about how we don't have to agree, but I feel like I could read this whole chapter, and that's not what you came here for. But we don't need to agree, but we do need to get to a place of respect and acceptance. And I share about how I know what it feels like to be in a room where I'm being tolerated, and probably you do too, and it doesn't feel good. So the chapter, as I shared, is called Bigger Than All of Us. And there was one question and then a lot of people sending very lovely messages about what this book has meant to them and how they're putting it, how they're using it in contexts that surprise them. And I'm so grateful for that. Please keep those coming. I'm not going to read all of them because that would just feel weird to do. So I'll start with one question. And then I also wanted to actually respond to a question that was asked in week 1 about why I chose to focus this work on the office setting and on leadership, when it does certainly apply to broader contexts outside of, you know, a leader at a corporate office or something. So I'll respond to that again in a moment. But the one question was, what's the best way to buy your book that supports you the most? Probably not Amazon, right? So I love that question. Thank you for asking that question. And because I chose to go the print on demand route, actually buying on Amazon is the best way to, it's the only way, as a matter of fact, to buy the book right now. I did an exclusivity agreement because you're just getting a little education on publishing, but I got higher royalties if I went the route of just doing exclusive on Amazon for the first 90 days, and I'm still in that window. So right now, Amazon is a fantastic way to get a copy of the book. Feel free to share that link with other people as you want to recommend the book to them. So I appreciate the thoughtful nature of that question. And also, yes, go ahead and buy it on Amazon. That is perfectly fine. So now I want to respond to the work focus piece, because if you are watching this now either live or you're going to watch the what's it called? The recording later, the replay is the word I was looking for. So if you're watching now and you're thinking, you know, I've read this whole book to this point, if you're in the chapter 6 read along, and you're thinking these concepts are about everything. They're about how I relate with my family. They're about how I understand, you know, who I am and what I want in this world and how I choose to go about being a builder of peace in the world. Yes, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And my first impulse was to write a book that was about that, a book about how mindful improv is for everyone and can solve every problem. And as I was working with my agent and talking with publishers, the advice and repeated feedback that I had gotten was, I see that. And also we need to understand, like, who is, if you write a book for everyone, then it's not really for anyone. Like there needs to be like a clear audience, and then it can grow past that, and that's great. But so in my thoughtful consideration of where do I narrow this down, part of it was a logistics decision. My work for my company, which is called And Beyond, happens in corporate offices. And so a lot of my following and platform, humble as it may be, is made up of HR and leaders. But the other thing for me, and I share about this in chapter 6 as well, is that we spend so much time at work. We spend most of our time at work. And what happens there has consequences. It has a ripple effect. And I really believe that when leaders allow their workplace environment to be a place where people are learning peace-building behaviors, like asking brave questions, like, you know, not rushing to snap judgments, but instead being curious, like remembering that it's safe to build something with someone who has proven to you that they are imperfect and someone that has shown you that they do have opportunities for growth. When we, and even more specifically, as you know, we read in chapters 4 and 5, how do we hold support and accountability together? How do we find that balance of supporting someone on their growth journey and at the same time standing behind what we say we believe in, you know, and allowing even the high earners, you know, that's not how we treat people here. And there's accountability, and maybe even we need to part ways, you know, and all that is in the book as well. When we allow places of work to be training grounds for those kinds of behaviors, that has a massive ripple effect, because people won't just be learning you know, this curiosity instead of judgment, this humility and courage, give and take, the, you know, brave questions and the understanding relapse as part of the change journey, and some of the many, many things that you've learned about mindful improv thinking, but also motivational interviewing in this book. People aren't just going to keep that in their office. That's going to change the way they talk with their spouse. That's going to change the way they talk with their kids. That's going to change the way they talk with their neighbors. And little by little, we see relationships getting restored. Little by little, we see trust being built. And I just believe that, you know, work is a really powerful place to start this restorative work and this education on these peace building behaviors. So that was a big piece of it for me. And that's why I included content from the Mindful Improv Manifesto in chapter 6, you know, about just this vision that I'm holding for any work that I do through my company and beyond. You know, it was founded on this mantra: love is the source, improv is the method, peace is the outcome. Like from day one, that was my intention, that any workshop, any blog post, any YouTube video, anything would be pointing at love is the source, improv is the method, peace is the outcome. What we're really doing here is about building peace in the world. And that starts inside of ourselves. And then it can move to, you know, our team, if we're talking about a workplace setting, and it ripples out from there. And so, yes, I imagine a world where mindful improv thinking changes the way we elect leaders, changes the way we police, changes criminal justice, changes foster care, helps end genocide. Like, I imagine a world where mindful improv thinking, you know, nudges just the right hearts, and conversations come up and collaborations happen, and the tide shifts on the way we think about these systems that have just existed for forever. Yes, I hold that huge, 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 massive vision. And also, why not let it start here? Why not let it start in your office and the way you talk to Tina when she's making you mad? Like, this is what it is. And, you know, in chapter 6, I share the words that world peace is achieved one restored relationship at a time. And one person wrote in and said, achieving world peace one restored relationship at a time is a huge goal. Good luck. And I didn't take that facetiously. I took that at face value. And, you know, my thought as I've reflected on that is, I don't need luck, because we have each other. We don't need luck. We have each other. We just need discipline. We just need focus. We just need practice at continuing to do these things. And that just will be the natural consequence. We just can do it. We just can choose to invite this kind of peace and graciousness toward one another, and curiosity toward one another, and courage to keep building with each other, even when we get it wrong, because we will get it wrong. And yeah, like, it doesn't require luck. We're just going to keep on going because it's improv, and we're going to keep listening to what's happening around us and allowing ourselves to be humble enough to really hear and brave enough to respond with authenticity. And that's what this is, you know? And so chapter 6 ends with the words, you are capable, courageous, willing, and worthy. And each of those words, that's a mantra that I've come back to over and over in my life. And each word means something special to me. And I ended the chapter like that, because that is the blessing I just want to extend to every single one of you. You are capable. You are capable. And you're brave. You're courageous. And you're willing. You know, you're willing to do this work. You're willing to learn, or you wouldn't have gotten all the way to the end of chapter 6. And you're worthy. You are worthy of the peace that this work will create in your life, in your office, in your family, in your neighborhood. You are capable, courageous, willing, and worthy. And I am just so full of gratitude getting to this final read along for this first book ever for me to write. And so I just kind of wanted to end this time with a sincere thank you. I'm so, so grateful to every single one of you who has purchased this book. I'm grateful because I'm so delighted and thankful that you care about this topic, and that you're curious about leveraging your leadership platform into, you know, a tool for building peace in the world. I'm so grateful that anyone is curious about that, and curious about how forgiveness and mindful improv thinking can do that. But the second thing is, your purchase of my book didn't just support this book. It supports my dream, this bigger vision of all that mindful improv thinking can change and do in the world to make it a more peaceful and just place. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for your purchase of this book, for reading the book, for your thoughtful questions and messages to me throughout this time of, your reactions reading it has just been an honor and a delight. And I'm just joyful. I am just so grateful and appreciative of each of you. So thank you guys so much. If you are watching the replay and you have questions, or maybe I will figure out how the keywords and the hashtags work correctly, and maybe someone will find this on YouTube, years from now, and you're watching it for the first time. Thank you as well. Thank you for watching the video. And you can go ahead and purchase the book. It will still be for sale on Amazon and probably elsewhere also at that time. And I'm super grateful for you as well. So thank you very much for watching. And if you have additional questions, you can reach out to me and I'll still get back to them. I imagine I'll still record more videos about this in the future. But just thank you guys so much. And I hope that you have a wonderful peace-building week, because you are capable, courageous, willing, and worthy. Bye.